PENSA Cyprus Exec Team.
So we have Dami, who is our president, but is unfortunately unable to join us today. My name is Eni and I'm the vice president.
My name is Tanaka and I'm the secretary.
My name is Fergo and I'm the treasurer.
My name is Aura and I'm the welfare leader.
My name is Tracy and I'm the media coordinator.
PENSA Cyprus was started just over a year ago, round about the same time, and we have had regular meetings since.
Over the course of this past year, we've achieved many things, such as establishing an environment of togetherness and camaraderie.
We've also had various events such as the Sports Day, where we had various activities like the sack race and tug of war.
We held a worship night which was very successful and a blessing to all who attended.
Around Christmas time, we also had another event where we all went to the carnival together.
We're looking forward to this year as we have many other things planned out for you.
Hello, my name is Juliet. PENSA has really helped spark Christian friendships that otherwise would not have been birthed, because I feel like in this society that we're in right now, it's hard to hold conversations regarding your spirituality. So this organization has really helped me build those type of friendships with people.
Hello, my name is Michael and I joined PENSA a year ago, and what it's done for me is that I'm able to meet new people from different backgrounds, and I'm able to express my thoughts and my beliefs about God, and this has helped me to grow more in the faith.
So if you want to reach us, see more of us, or join us, you can reach us at Instagram at PENSA Cyprus, Facebook at PENSA Cyprus, Gmail at pensacyprus@gmail.com, or Snapchat at PENSA Cyprus.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Dami Adegbite, and tonight I am going to be your host for this event. So welcome to everybody. We are so appreciative for you joining us tonight. We have a fun-packed night for you tonight. Tonight we'll just be sharing information, giving out information to everyone for prospective students. What is it like living abroad? Specifically, what is it like living in Cyprus as a student? So today we have some presentations for you, and at the end of this presentation we also have a live Q&A session where we have a panel put together made up of students who will be answering your questions. So if you do have any question, do make sure that you put it in the comment box so that we can address it later tonight. Before we go any further, please share the link to this event, guys. Let's get more people on here. Share the link, share the link, share the link. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Let's share the link for everyone to join on, so that we can pass on information so everyone can have the information together. So yeah, without any further delay, we're going to move to our first presentation of the night. We have presentations from the northern side and the Republic of Cyprus. Yes, Cyprus is actually divided into two, in case you do not know. So yes, it's divided into two, and we have two people here today who will be giving us presentation from the Republic of Cyprus and the Northern Cyprus as well. And after that, we'll then have the Q&A discussion, like I said earlier. Without further delay, our first speaker for tonight is Winnie Omukora. So Winnie actually just recently graduated from Frederick University. She graduated with a degree in fashion and image, and she is joining us tonight to just give her a presentation on what is life like as a student in the Republic of Cyprus. So with virtual claps, virtual stomps, or whatever you want to do, please welcome Winnie Omukora for our presentation on the Republic of Cyprus.
Thank you very much, Dami. Hi, everyone. It's really, really nice speaking today. So just going to talk about my experience in Cyprus and everything. Cyprus is such a lovely country. I mean, 5 years in this country, I guess that's a love experience for me to talk about it. So yeah, Cyprus is such a lovely country. I think the island life here is really, really good. If you want to see maybe like blue skies and really nice sunrise and sunsets, Cyprus is probably a place for you. So there's a lot about Cyprus that's really, really good. There's a lot to talk about. There's like the beaches, there's like the school, there's student life and everything. And today we'll be focusing on the student life aspects. So let's get to it. First, we have the universities and colleges available, and Cyprus has about 25,000 students studying in Cyprus alone. And it is told by studies that about 1/3 of them are international students. So that's definitely a really large amount of international students in Cyprus. So, we have a lot of programs available here. There, there's a large range of medical students, there's business students, there's, engineering. Think of it, there are lots of courses available in Cyprus. And some of the colleges and universities we're going to be talking about today are, there's European University, there's the University of Nicosia, which I think probably has one of the highest range of international students. And then there's Frederick University, where I graduated from. And there is University of Central Lancashire. I'm so sorry if I murdered that name. There's Alexander College, that's in Larnaca. So, your university experience really depends on where you go. It depends on what course also you study. It depends on the people you know. It depends on, everything surrounding. And then, each university, many universities have university accommodations. So if you're looking for accommodations in campus, those options are available. Many students like to go for those options because it's pretty much like you don't really have to worry about the bills because everything is paid probably once a year and all you have to focus on is your school. So the cost of these accommodations comes with usually electricity, with water, with Wi-Fi. Many accommodations even have gyms and some actually have pools. So you're pretty much living the life. So I would recommend for anyone that's coming to Cyprus for the first time to probably stay in an accommodation just so they can get the feel of student life without necessarily have to worry about other things like bills. So of course there's the option available for those who want to rent their private accommodations. There are lots of accommodations available with different prices. The prices are not necessarily fixed. It just depends on the area you're living in. It depends, like if you live in the center, for example, the accommodation might be at a higher price than if you were to live at maybe a town area or an area that's not very popular. And also, the rent also varies. Some private accommodations also have the bills included and common expenses, but some, like where I stay, for example, I have to pay bills. So I guess, yeah, it depends on what you want. And so we have finances. So finances in Cyprus, I mean, if you're a student, if you're anybody at all, finances will be really important. Before you travel anywhere, you need to know about the currency, you need to know about the cost of living, you need to know about pretty much everything, because I mean, if you're spending your money, you might as well know, get a heads up on everything. And it's estimated that for each student, in a month, you probably would spend about 600 euros. So that includes maybe accommodation. That also includes bills if you stay in a place like mine, like an apartment like mine. That includes bills and transportation and food and thereabouts. But also budget varies from person to person. Like for example, if you live in some accommodations that maybe cost that the cost is a little higher in price, then definitely you probably would spend more. Or if you just like to maybe shop or something, then definitely you spend more. So yeah, I have a list of things with their prices, if that's helpful. So like the basic basic things you might need as a student here in Cyprus. So I have the prices of things that you might need for food or like transportation or anything about. So there's the average restaurant meal may cost from 12 euros if you want to have a really, really good meal, a well-balanced meal. Also, a loaf of bread is roughly around 2 euros. And yeah, so I guess the prices are not necessarily really high, and also you have your students discount for buses, so that's 75 cents. The regular price for a bus ride would be €1.50, but as a student you get that privilege to pay half price. And yeah, like there's also, you know, chicken, coffee, depends on what you like. The average taxi ride also ranges probably around €10, probably less, depends on where you're going. And if you like to watch movies, the price is also around €9 or 9.90. So yeah, and also obviously when we talk about finances, we can't talk about finances without talking about jobs, because if you don't necessarily want to get your income from if you want to get extra income, then definitely you probably want to get a job. The case in Cyprus is a little different, as you know, per law, international students are only allowed a few range of jobs. Well, if you're from the UK, you probably have a higher range of jobs you can do here in Cyprus. If you're from the EU, from Europe in general, you probably have a higher range of jobs, or if you're from Cyprus. But here's the list of jobs you can do as an international student, and that would be, you know, working at a petrol station, or maybe a car wash, or working at a retirement home, or, you know, just helping out with little things like delivery. So yeah, like fast food delivery, fishing, local bakeries, little jobs like that. The ranges are not very wide, as you can see here. So that's definitely something you need to, you know, get a heads up before you come to Cyprus, before you make up your mind to come to Cyprus. So the next thing, we're going to talk about social life. I mean, social life is definitely something that's important. Like, I don't know about you, but before I came to Cyprus, the first thing I was thinking about, for some reason, I didn't really think about finances, but I thought more about social life. I thought, like, how would people be like? Were they friendly people? Are they friendly people? You know, in general, how would going out be like? Are they things in the university I could do, like extracurricular activities I could do? Because I myself, I like sports personally, so I just would like to know all of that. So, you know, moving to a new place, definitely you need to know all of that stuff. So you need to get used to a new lifestyle. You need to get used to, you know, new diets. Pretty much everything about you is going to change. So yeah, in Cyprus, you know, especially the time we live in right now, interacting is not as it used to be. But definitely we have things like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok even, and you can meet so many people online. There are lots of groups online. You can also use an app called Meetup, where you can check for events that are going on. There are lots of free events that go on. I remember one of the best events I went to here in Cyprus was actually a pillow fight event, where you wouldn't know anyone, like everyone just went to their pillows and they just they just had, you know, pillow fights. So that was really cool. I got to meet lots of people, and yeah, so there are lots of events going on like that. It goes from maybe walking dogs or to like picnics or things like that. So I don't know about all the events that are going on right now with the whole pandemic issue, but I know that there are lots of events that go on online. So yeah, you know, you can't talk about social life without talking about restaurants, because maybe after you go out with friends, you want to go to a place to eat, and there are lots and lots of restaurants. If I wrote the amount of restaurants, we probably would not finish the presentation. So yeah, there are lots of restaurant options available in Cyprus. You have the local Greek cuisine, and you know, Greek food is also very diverse, because it has like Italian origin, it also has Armenian, it has like a bunch of stuff. But then you also have international, you have your regular fast food. It depends on what you're craving. And also for the time we're in, obviously, to make things easier, I put in you know, both food. If you want, it's an app that you can easily download, and you can just order your food online if you don't want to go out, if you're social distancing, or if you just don't like to go out. So yeah, the culture in Cyprus. I would say the culture in Cyprus is actually something it's very unique. It's quite interesting, because I mean, you might meet someone, a Cypriot person today, their culture might seem different from another person. So I would say their culture here is actually quite diverse. But in general, people in Cyprus are very friendly people. They are very warming people. Like, I remember several times my neighbor actually used to just call me up. Like, I used to live in this apartment where I lived alone, and my neighbor would just randomly call me downstairs and give me food. And I couldn't say no. Like, no matter how hard I tried to say no, she would still be like, no, eat, you should eat, you know, you're skinny, you should eat. But yeah, so they're quite friendly. They're very family oriented. They are also very sharing. So yeah, like if it's a situation, let's say like Christmas or Easter, people that you don't know will definitely invite you to their places, to their houses. It depends on where you live, anyways. So yeah, hospitality is a thing that's really common here. So they're really loyal to their traditions and their cultures, and they have really colorful cultures. So the next thing we're going to talk about is food. I think this is one of the best parts, food, because yeah, like I need to know what kind of food I'm eating if I'm going to a new place. And yeah, so Cyprus food is very, like I said earlier, is very diverse. It has lots of you know, Italian influence, it has Turkish influence, it has even Armenian kinds of food. And some of the popular foods you might find here are, you know, souvlaki, that's pretty much barbecued meat. Everyone talks about souvlaki. Like if there's an event going on and there's no souvlaki, then I don't know, you need to check on someone because something's going on, something's wrong. Another thing is also cheftalia. I don't know if I pronounced that properly, but yeah, it's pretty much like meatballs mixed with a bunch of spices. And yeah, another popular thing that I didn't put in this presentation would be, forgive me if I murdered the name, but I think it's gyros. Anyways, it's like gyro. So it's something with like pita bread and you know, beef, pork, or chicken, depending on what you like. It's really, really nice. Like that's one of my favorite foods here. So yeah, the next thing will be transportation, because you know, after going out, after eating all of that food, you definitely need a way to get home. So transportation, there are various ways you can travel here in Cyprus. Though I think the common way would be the buses. So buses here in Cyprus, there's an app called Motion app. There's also another app called Pame, which I didn't put here in this presentation, but the common one is Motion because it's available for both Androids and an iPhone. So yeah, that app pretty much tells you like the bus timetable, the routes that they follow, you know, like schedules and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, so another popular way of transportation would be taxis. Like if you prefer to just, you know, be in your taxi, you know, you don't really like to be in a space with people, or you just simply want to use a taxi. Bolt is a really good app for transportation, as you know, like you could just maybe, like for example, today I was running late and I just got my taxi, and you don't even have to call, like you just get your taxi on the app, and then you probably finish up what you're doing, and before you know, your taxi is near you. And yeah, another thing that you definitely need to get on would be 2GIS. That's an app that pretty much shows you like for example, I was lost somewhere one time, but this is a navigation app that's actually offline. So you just download your city and then you can use it offline when you don't have internet. And also it shows you what bus goes to whatever area you need to go to. So for example, if you go to a strange area you've never been to before, you can easily just go on the app and you see what bus you need to take to your destination. Yeah, before going to the next slide, I'm gonna say that there are also other ways for transportation. For example, you know, the famous one I like to call leg days. If you like to walk, then definitely you can do that. But there are also other fun ways, like you could rent a bike, you can rent a bicycle, and I think it's relatively cheap. I don't really know the price, but I think it's somewhere around like €2 to rent a bicycle and just go around town. And also you could rent a scooter if you also like to roll that way. You could rent a scooter and just easily go around town with your friends. So the next thing I'm going to talk about would be churches and fellowship. So I think that's something that's very, very important, because you're going to a new place. You definitely need you definitely need to find a church, a really, really good church, or like a student fellowship, somewhere you can go and also meet really good, also meet believers around. So I just put down a few churches that I've been to here in Cyprus that I've had experience with, and also student fellowships here in Cyprus. So the first one obviously will be the Church of Pentacles. That's my current church here. I would say the Church of Pentacles is a really, really international student-friendly church. It's a really good place where you can find people, with passion for Christ, and also people that probably go to your university even. The next church also will be Nicosia International Church. It's a church that pretty much has internet people from all over the world. So you have people in the UK, from the UK, you have people from the US, you have people from Nigeria, you have people from even like India, you have people from around the world, and they just come together to worship in one church. And the next thing will be Redeemed Christian Church of God. So if you're probably Nigerian, I don't know where you're from, but you probably know about Redeemed Christian Church of God. It's a church where you can just come and worship. It has it's a church that probably has a majority of African students around, and not just students but also workers. But yeah, it's also a really, really good place you can worship. Then a few fellowships you can go to. Obviously, come on, PENSA. PENSA is number one, I would say. So, get on PENSA. If you're watching and you've not really heard much about PENSA, then definitely find out more about PENSA. PENSA is a student what am I saying? PENSA is a student association that came out of the Church of Pentecost, and it's just it's really, really good when you're as a youth, as a student. It's really good to find a bunch of youths who are not just students like you, but also have a passion for Christ, who are on fire for God, who also know how to have fun and everything, but at the same time will not do anything that compromises their relationship with God. So definitely get on PENSA. Another student fellowship, I would say, it's CIFES. CIFES is actually, it came from IFES, which is an international student fellowship, but CIFES is the one for Cyprus. And so yeah, they just do meetings. They pretty much are like PENSA. So yeah. There's a lot more that can be found out. Above all, you can find more stuff on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find everything here on Facebook, on Instagram, or maybe YouTube or something like that. So personal experiences. I didn't put a presentation down because when I thought about my personal experience here in Cyprus, after the 5 years I've been here, 5 years is a really long time to put everything down. So personal experiences in Cyprus, I would say Cyprus is a really, really beautiful. I'm really glad I came to Cyprus, actually. I think I have grown a lot after coming to Cyprus. It's obviously had the downsides, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But coming to Cyprus, I came to Cyprus as a teenager. I'm an adult now, so definitely I have the that independence in me now, and also I've grown a lot. I've met a lot of people. I have traveled around Cyprus. I've kind of been like a tourist, so it's a really, really good place for all of that. A few downsides I would say about Cyprus, as mentioned earlier, there are not lots of job opportunities for students if you're international. Let's say, for example, if you're from third world countries, there are not lots of job opportunities. Like for the past 5 years I've been here, I've actually not had a job. I've been dependent on my parents the whole time. So, I'm blessed to have depended on my parents, but it's something you need to know in advance before coming to Cyprus. If you're coming from maybe a third world country, you need to know in advance that, yes, there might be jobs and stuff like that, but there are also requirements when those jobs come. Like, for example, the common one lots of employers will look for is, do you speak Greek? If you speak fluent Greek, then that would be a plus. But obviously, if you are just coming to Cyprus for the first time, you probably do not know a bit about Greek. So, that was one thing. And but overall, my experience has been really, my experience has been good. So I thank God for everything. People here are pretty friendly, and there are also a few other challenges. Obviously you get challenges wherever you go, but overall, I would say that Cyprus is a good place to be, and you should definitely do more research because this is my story. Your story might be different. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Winnie. That was so informative. Yeah, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've just had a bit of a few hiccups with our students from the northern side. They have unfortunately not been able to join us tonight. They've just had a bit of a technical issue, and the other person had an emergency to attend to. So we do apologize, but we'll still answer some of the your questions, whatever questions that you might have for us. We'll answer them as much as we can. Winnie thought us giving our experience. I just thought, let me just chip in my own little experience. I've not been here for as long as Winnie has been here, but I've been here for about 3 years. So I am actually a third-year medical student. I studied at the University of Nicosia. And some of the things that Winnie has said, my experience was pretty much like that as well. But when I first came, one of the first things that took me was transportation. Because coming from the UK, I had the bus. Like the bus would come every like 10 minutes and things like that. And out here, I'd have to wait for about 40 minutes. Once you miss the bus, 40 minutes, you have to wait for the next bus. And that kind of had me shook. And getting from point A to point B was a bit of like a headache because like sometimes you have to get 2 buses. Once you get to the middle bit and you want to get the next bus, you have to wait for long for the other bus to come in. So, but the app she spoke about, the 2GIS app, actually does really, really help and makes things a lot easier. It lets you know, okay, this is the route you should take. This is the one this is the best way to get there. This is the bus you should take, all of that stuff. So if you are planning to come to Cyprus, especially the Republic of Cyprus, make sure that you have the 2GIS app. It really, really does help. What else about my experience? The food, gyro. Winnie has been here for 5 years and she couldn't say gyro. So the gyro is, listen, I get that thing almost all the time. The gyro is amazing. Yeah, the food here is actually quite nice, quite flavorful. Yeah, I rate it for sure. What else? I think one of my challenges would actually have to be the language barrier as well. Yeah, sort of communicating with the locals sometimes is a bit difficult because it's like I want to get that, but then it's like they don't know how to like understand what I'm saying, so that was a bit difficult. But just picking up 1 or 2 sentences there, like thank you, the oi, the ne, Kalimera, Kalispera, Kalimita, all of that. Picking that up just made it. So when you go to the store and you go, Kalimera, Kalispera, they brighten up and they're very happy. Say, yeah, Kalimera, Kalispera. So yeah, just learning 1 or 2 things, yeah, is actually quite good. And the university that I go to actually does offer a Greek course to students, and I believe it's actually quite free. So they offer, so here in the Republic of Cyprus, we speak Greek. Yeah, we speak Greek. We speak Greek. So yeah, they have the courses in some of the unis. I know my uni offers it, and students are able to take it. You have exams on it, so you're able to actually learn the language for free. And you know, if you have some Greek friends as well, it really does help. Then you can practice your Kalimera, your Kalispera, your Kalimita. You get to practice and all of that. So yeah, the language, that's the only thing. What else? The job. So before coming here, I thought that when I get here, I got myself a job. You know, just a little something on the side. But boy, did I know. Some of the things that Winnie actually just mentioned, I didn't even know about. Thank you so much, Winnie, for actually mentioning that. I didn't actually know that we had specific jobs that we could do. Yeah, before coming here, I thought I would be able to work, but I was not able to. Actually, I think my uni gave us like some sort of form that we had to sign that you are signing that you actually cannot work when you get here. So it might differ from person to person, but with my course, I had to sign that I couldn't work. So yeah, be very aware of that. So what else? what else is there? Accommodation. So me, myself, my first year, because before coming, I wasn't too sure if I was going to come or not. So my application and everything was late. And so my apartment, I actually lived in a private apartment for the first 2 years of my stay in Cyprus. And it was interesting. First time being out of the house, it was very interesting living with other people, but it was fun. You get to meet new people, different people from different backgrounds and things like that. Yeah, it was different. But now in my third year, I'm in a university accommodation, and it's a lot better. Definitely a lot better. So I'd say if you have the means, definitely opt for a university accommodation. It's closer to uni as well, just about 5 minutes walk. Like before, Cyprus is so hot, and my house was about 20 minutes walk to uni. So I'm here, I have to wake up earlier so that, you know, I get to leave the house, I can make it for lecture on time. And you see myself and my housemate, and we're walking, guys, by the time we sit down in the class, we are burning. So if you don't want to experience all of that, I really do encourage having a university accommodation where it's just a lot closer to the house. And I think presently, I don't know if Winnie actually mentioned it, they've got like the electrical scooters, which you can actually rent. Electrical scooters, and I believe bikes as well. So you just pay, I think it's about a couple of cents per hour or per minute, I can't remember what it is. So you can always rent those, and they've made life easier from getting from point A to point B. So if you're confident with if your scooter skills is good, then that's the one for you. So use that, and yeah, get the bikes as well. Or if you're a driver, you can always drive as well. That's calm too. And also I'd recommend, if you're a skilled person, say you know how to do hair, you know how to cornrows, anything, braiding, whatever it is you can do. If you're a skilled person, housekeeping, whatever, make sure when you come that you're able to apply that. It could really help you. Like just a little change on the side, you know, that doesn't hurt nobody. So if you have skills, this place, definitely you have a lot of people who either want to make their hair, or they want you to just do something for them. So if you're skilled in that way, make sure that when you do arrive, you express it out there. And I think that's going to be my little bit of my experience. We'll share more later. So I'm actually going to bring back Winnie, and I'm also going to bring back two of our other students. I'm going to bring back Habib, Winnie, Habib, and Abdul. They're going to join me here today. Guys, we are very appreciative. Thank you so much for joining us today. They're just going to be talking a little bit about their experiences, giving us their experiences of what it's like living in Cyprus. So yeah, they'll be joining us in a second. They'll be talking about things like accommodation, some of the things that you might have as well, the questions in the comments. They'll be addressing those questions and giving you guys answers, providing answers for you as well. Accommodation, transportation, finances, culture, social life, and just sharing their own little experience. Hi guys, hi Abdul, hi Habib. Thank you for joining us again. Winnie, hello. Hello. How are we all doing? Hi.
Thank you.
Hey, we're good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Habib. Thank you, Abdul. So, Habib, if you want to go first, just give a bit like introduction and who you are, what you currently do, and that'll be great.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Habib Mahdi. I'm currently a fifth-year medical student at the University of Nicosia. I'm originally from Tanzania, and before Cyprus, I was in the UK doing my bachelor's degree with Abdul.
Interesting. Okay. And what was your degree before this?
Biomedical sciences.
All right, okay. So fifth-year medical student. Okay, doctor, we see you. So next we have Abdul. Abdul, can you just introduce yourself to us, please?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Abdul Adil. I'm a fifth-year medical student as well as Habib, and I'm originally from Nigeria. And like Habib said, I also did my biomedical science degree previously in England before coming to Cyprus.
Okay, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Winnie. So, Habib and Abdul, starting with Habib, what's it been like? Just give us a little, just couple of lines, what has it been like for you being in Cyprus?
For me, as someone who's from Tanzania, Cyprus and Tanzania are actually very, very similar in terms of infrastructure, roads, etc. So for me, like it felt like just I'm at home. The only obviously difference was the language barrier. But yeah, as Winnie said, the people over here are very welcoming. They're very family oriented. Everyone is super, super nice. Everyone's very helpful. So my 5 years here in Cyprus so far, it's honestly been very, very good, and it's been one of my best experiences so far.
That's amazing. One of your best experiences. We'd love to hear it. Abdul, give us a couple of lines. What's it been like?
So honestly, when I was coming to Cyprus, I was expecting it to be similar to other European countries like Spain or maybe even England. But when I got here, I was a bit surprised, and it's kind of grown on me, especially after 5 years. And it's been really good. And yeah, like everyone said, the people are really friendly. The language can be a bit difficult, but a lot of people do speak English and they can understand you for the most part. And it's also really nice to try learning the language as well, depending on how long that you're here for.
Did any of you learn the language by any chance? Tell me, Winnie, did you learn the language? You guys, all three of you have been here for 5 years, so let me know. Who learned the language? Or is it just Kalimera, Kalispera, Kalimita as well? What have you guys? Winnie, start with you. Okay, what can you say? Give us something in Greek. Let's go.
Liro. Well, I would say when I first came, I was really passionate. Like every single day, I'll be on Google Translate. I had this Cypriot friend that I had to only speak Greek to me. You know, everything was going well and all of that. You know, a few things happened between my, first and second year. Just long story short, I was really angry that I was here in Cyprus. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop learning the language. And that was really childish. But yeah, so I do not speak Greek. I only know the little like Kalimera, Kalispera, all that stuff.
Okay. We're in the same boat. But I'm going to learn later. So Habib and Abdul, what you got for us? Habib, start with you.
Between me and Abdul, I neglected the free Greek classes that we had early on. And that is something that I regret at the moment, because we are in the hospitals and I'd say 80% of the patients speak English, but you'll obviously come across patients who don't speak English at all. So for me, I'd have to do what Winnie did, which was go on Google Translate and learn phrases. And I have this little paper that's always in my pocket of common phrases that I need in the hospital. So my Greek is very limited to hospital language. So I'm about to take your blood now, or can you take a deep breath in for me, and stuff like that.
Actually, how's that been though? Has it been working pretty well? Like, as it made your communication with patients better?
It has, yes, because I appreciate that you try, and it's broken Greek. It's not proper fluent Greek. So I don't say, oh, can you please pull your shirt up? It's just, please shirt up, that type of thing. It works. It makes sense. It works. So.
Anything works, as long as you're just doing it. Abdul, what about you? Sorry, carry on.
The good thing the university does is they pair you with Greek speakers most of the time. Right. Obviously, some people get unlucky and they don't have Greek speakers with them. But for me, I'm paired with a Greek speaker who's my partner. So I also play off of him with Greek.
Oh, that's the best thing, actually. That's what I was saying about if you have Greek friends, it makes it even better to understand, because then you guys can always just talk like, okay, Kalimera, what's Kalimera, that kind of stuff. So Abdul, what about you? Give us a couple of lines, maybe.
Okay, so I've actually been taking the Greek class for 3 years now. And honestly, it's made it kind of easier in the hospital. Like Habib said, sometimes if the doctor's with the patient and they're speaking, they might not have time after the consultation to tell you exactly what happened. But understanding some Greek, I've been able to pick up and have been able to piece together like what it was about. And then we could just briefly talk about it. He doesn't have to explain every single thing to me. I can speak a little, but I understand like a lot more than speaking.
Hey, speak something.
Yeah.
Just give us a line. Give us a line.
Boruna Miliso Elenica ala Then in Napoli, Gala.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means I can speak Greek, but it's not that good.
Oh, well done, Abdul. Yes. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm not putting you on the spot there, but you did well. You did well. You did well. Okay, so we're just going to move into some questions now, starting with accommodation. So as everyone here just being like privately, like in private accommodations, have you actually stayed in uni accommodations? Starting with Winnie. I think Winnie.
Yeah, for me, at the time I came, my university did not have any student accommodations, so I just stayed in private accommodations. I didn't really know much about like the other universities' accommodations because when I came here, like my school is pretty far away from everybody everywhere else, so I just stayed in private accommodations. But yeah, I mean, my experience there has been good so far because I guess you have a variety of stuff. You can have like a larger place for a cheaper price relatively. So yeah.
Okay, okay. So you've been in private apartments throughout.
Yeah.
Okay. And Habib?
So in my first year, I stayed at one of the university accommodations called uni halls. And the reason for that was just so I can get comfortable with being in Cyprus for my first year. But because I did my previous degree in the UK, I was staying in a student accommodation for 2 years there. And then this would be my third year in student accommodation. I thought, okay, it's enough of student accommodation for now. I need to have my own apartment. And because I had friends in the year above, they said that having a car would also be quite beneficial for when you go to different hospitals. So I knew getting a private apartment wouldn't be a problem because I would also have a car. So from second year onwards, I've just been living in apartments.
Okay, okay. And you, Abdul?
Yeah, sort of similar to Habib as well. Previously, when I was in England, in my first year, I stayed in student accommodation, but then I moved to an apartment. And when I came to Cyprus, just so I could get familiar with the places to go to, where the supermarket is, getting to the university is like more easily. So I stayed in a uni accommodation as well, in uni halls also. And after the first year, I ended up moving as well to an apartment, and I've just not gone back to student accommodation since. And I also got a car, which makes it a lot more convenient to get to places.
Okay, okay. It's interesting. You guys have just been doing everything since back in the day, since environment time. Okay, so since both of you have actually had the experience of living in private accommodation and uni accommodation, which one would you encourage people to actually go for, Abdul?
Okay, so I would say that when you first come, you should stay in a student accommodation. It's really, really good to help you familiarize with the places to go to, where things are. Even if you want to go somewhere farther away, like you can take a taxi or the bus, but just being able to know that where you're going back to is easily locatable. And if you need to go to the supermarket, it's just like 3 minutes away. If you need to go to the post office, it's like maybe 10 minutes away, something like that. It makes you get more comfortable in the environment, especially if you're just coming to somewhere new for the first time, living on your own for the first time. I think that slow acclimatization is really good, and just throwing yourself into private accommodation. But if you're going to be here for a long time, I recommend that, get private accommodation. In my opinion, I'm just not a huge fan of the small space in the uni accommodation.
I feel you. What would you say about that as well, Habib?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing with Abdul. Like, make sure because when you get a private accommodation, you're far away from everyone, and it will be hard to socialize and find friends, etc., from different backgrounds, different courses. So I think for the first year or two at least, I suggest going to student accommodations and making the most out of the lounges and meeting other people, so you can have different groups of friends you can go play sport, play football with, go out with, etc., etc. But then ultimately, I think private accommodation is the best thing, especially when it comes to exam time. It's quiet. There's no people screaming in the corridor. So
I'm having them speak right now. I'm having them speak right now. Yeah, I think I can actually flow in that boat as well. But I don't know. Right now, I'm really enjoying just being by myself in my own little space. But maybe it's just because because you guys have like background of like coming from biomed to this. I've come straight from mommy and daddy to this. So I'm just enjoying being by myself. So if you get what I mean, I'm kind of liking this. Maybe I'll change my mind later, but right now I'm liking this. But yeah, like they said, if you're gonna come here for the first time, definitely choose uni accommodation and then private accommodation later on when you're like more familiar with what's going on. Okay, so next question is that could you guys give like a rough estimate on how much bills you guys pay in a month since you're living in private accommodation right now? How much is the bill? Roughly how much would you say you pay, and what are the things that you have to pay for? Start with Winnie.
Yeah, so the bills roughly, I mean, they really vary. Like in a month I could pay less one month, and the next month it could be higher. But I would say, for example, let's say during winter where you need to use more electricity, maybe you need to use like the heater, and definitely you need water heater also, because we're not trying to catch a cold, you know. So I would say roughly electricity comes, you know, every 2 months. So let's say it could be around 150 to like 200, depending on your apartment. Because I've known that, you know, I've seen apartments that actually pay less than I do in my apartment. So I think it also depends on your apartment. It depends on, you know, your fridges, like if they're older, the brand and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, roughly around 150 for electricity. Wi-Fi is a fixed price, so you could get from maybe 20 euros to like 30. Water is roughly around, let's say, 50 euros. But then again, I'm talking because I live with, you know, 4 in my apartment, so that's the amount that will pay for 4 people. It might be cheaper for you, or it might be more for you.
Abdullah and Abib, would you guys agree around that price range that she's just given?
For the bills, more or less, yes.
Okay.
So,
Abdul, you agree with that?
Yeah, it's more or less the same thing. And I think also with the internet as well, that might also factor into the bills. I think those are quite cheap, maybe around 25 euros to maybe 40 per month.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with what everyone has said. I think one of the things that makes me even like uni accommodation more is the fact that everything is included in the uni accommodation. So I don't have to bother about water bill, electricity bill, because the thing about living with people is if one person decides to blast out the water or blast out the electricity, then we are all in trouble. And the thing is, I don't know about you guys, but the apartment, the house that I stayed in, the bigger your room, the more you have to pay. So the way it was broken down was that the bigger your room, it was broken down in percentages. So the electricity bill, whenever it comes in, the bigger your room, the more you have to pay. So imagine you have a housemate who decides to put on their AC every time, everywhere. So you are having to pay more, even though you're not using that much. So university accommodation has everything included. But then obviously if you're going to be getting like a studio flat outside or like a 1-bedroom apartment, then you know it's just you and yourself. If you want to spend your electricity bill or you want to blast it out, that's up to you. But you know that what you're using is what you're paying for, not the fact that someone else is doing it. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
When you if you get a car, your bills obviously will go up as well because you have to pay for fuel, road tax, servicing your car. So that
MOT.
MOT, yeah. So getting a car made my monthly expenses go, I think, almost 150, 200 fuel services, etc.
Okay, wow. You guys are hearing it now, so be prepared for the expenses. I hope everyone is taking down notes. And obviously, before we even dive into more questions, now that we're in the Q&A section, please share the link. Let's get people here. This details, everyone needs to hear about it. In case they're, wondering about moving abroad or just coming down to Cyprus. So next question here is, a person needs a roommate. Where is the best place to find one? Habib.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So let's say we have a student that wants to find a roommate or a housemate. Where is the best place for them to find it?
I have no input in that. I've lived alone since I came.
Okay.
No
Really?
Man, it's a really tricky question, I would say, because yeah, I mean, definitely you need to know the kind of people you're living with. So if you're coming for the first time, it depends on the kind of person you are. I know I personally, if like came to Cyprus for the first time, I would want to live alone, you know, just to like get myself together, know people before I live with them. Because like you could live with a serial killer. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I've not experienced that before, but like you can live with a bunch of, you know, weird people. You could live with really cool people also. But I would say if you're coming for the first time, you probably should just live alone.
Right, I agree with that as well, definitely. Okay, so just to move on from accommodation, let's move on to transportation. So I think Abdul and Habib already made it clear that they've been driving since second year. So Winnie will direct this one to, I think Habib already touched on what it is to have like a car, the fact that the expenses you need to take into account, MOT, you said, insurance, petrol, what else? Abdul?
Road tax.
Sorry?
Road tax.
Road tax. Any other thing?
If your car breaks down randomly.
That's the thing.
All over.
Oh, wow. And you said it's cost about how much in a month, would you say, to have a car?
So for fuel, because now I drive, my house is like a 15-minute drive from the hospital, and that's my main commute. For a month for fuel, I use around 50 to 60 euros. Insurance is 200 for 6 months. MOT is 40 for how long, Abdul? Like 22 years?
I think it's a year. You renew it every year.
Yeah, and road tax is 100 for entire year.
Wow. Okay, so you've heard it now. I hope you guys got those numbers. So jot it down if you're planning to have a car here. And Abdul, how do you get a car here? How expensive or how cheap are cars over here?
Okay, so the way I got mine was a Facebook advertisement, actually. And I think going back to what someone said about finding roommates, if you find a Facebook group for the university that you're going to or the course that you're going to be going to, then it's a good way to connect with other people. And if there's someone else that is looking for a roommate, you can start talking to them or you can find someone there. But yeah, Facebook ads was how I was able to find my car. Other places are Bazaraki as well. I think that's where Habib found his. And yeah, my brother did most of the searching and the whole process of getting it. So I just stayed back and enjoyed it when it came. But it was relatively straightforward, actually. And like you said, Cypriots are quite friendly. So the person that we got it from, he helped us with like the changing of the name and getting everything that we needed to do to get the car in our name done.
All right.
In terms of how expensive, it depends. So from those places, you have cars that have already been used. Like that's where they go to sell them. And depending, you can have from like 2,000 euros for a car to 10,000, 12,000. So it depends on what you want, really.
Okay, 10,000 to 12,000 for cars. You heard it. You got the shiny?
No, 2,000 to
2,000.
10. Yeah.
Okay. All right. 10,000 to 12,000. Okay. So 2,000 to 12,000, guys, if you're planning to get a car. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sad about when you're buying a car. One of the main things to keep in mind is because Cyprus is a very small country, everyone knows each other. And when you find a car that you want to buy, make sure you have your own mechanic beforehand to take your car to check, and don't just go to the buyer's mechanic. Because if the buyer tells you, oh, let's go to my mechanic so he or she can check my car for you, and they have already like know each other, they're friends, they'll just say, oh yeah, the car is perfect condition, you can take it. It's just gonna break down in the next month or so. Make sure you already have your mechanic beforehand. You tell them, okay, you're going to be my mechanic. I'll bring my car for you to check. Make sure it's perfect so I can buy it. And just so you don't get scammed.
Lovely. Thank you for that, actually. Yeah, so make sure you have your own mechanic before you actually get the car. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. So we actually have a question from online, and it says, "Are the roads safe for new drivers? Are the roads safe for new drivers?" Habib, that's us off.
When I came to Cyprus, I already was driving for 7 years, so I don't really have that much input as a new driver. But
right,
I would say even if you're a new driver, for the first few months at least, be on guard, because there are a few reckless drivers in Cyprus. You could be driving safely, but then there will always be that one person next to you trying to overtake you roughly. They don't follow the traffic lights sometimes, etc. It's quite safe if you're living in the student area where we were in University of Nicosia in Ngomi. It's quite safe there because it's not that dangerous in my opinion. But once you start going to city center, the highway is quite safe as well, I think. Abdul agree with that.
Abdul, do you agree?
Yeah, so I started driving when I came here, so I was a new driver, and it felt quite safe. And I also have a friend who just started driving when they got here, and we didn't really have any problems. But even like 4 years into driving, I'll say, there are a lot of reckless drivers, like Habib said, and you have to really be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would agree to that as well, because I've just started taking my lessons like last year. So, and I know when I'm there with my instructor, you just see this person just come from all corner. They are quite reckless, but yeah.
Do not get a motorcycle. Whatever you do not get a motorcycle. It was one of my plans to get a motorcycle. Abdul will remember this, but just don't do that to yourself, please. It's not safe for a motorcycle here.
Right, so you guys have heard it. Please do not get a motorcycle. Get a car, what else can you get? A bicycle, whatnot, but do not get a motorcycle. Yeah? Right, thank you so much, guys. So Winnie, we're going to come to you for this question. In regards to transportation, what is it like with the buses? How much is it per ride? And do I need an ID to get? Do people need an ID to get on the buses?
You don't necessarily need an ID to get on a bus. The ID would be maybe for a discount. Like for example, if you are a student, definitely you would get a 50% discount with your student ID. And there are also people like people in the army, or I think also elderly people probably get a percentage on the price. So you don't necessarily need an ID just for the discounts. Per ride, as I said earlier, it would be 75 cents for students with your student ID. But without your student ID, you would have to pay the full price. Bus drivers, they might know your face, but they probably would not let you go free. And yeah, so the next thing also, an easier way to do it, like for me, because I live pretty far from my university, I had to take 2 buses every day. So you can imagine. So I had to get like like the monthly tickets. That's the bus card. You just pay about 20 euros with your student card, and I think that was really convenient because like you don't even have to start bringing out coins. When you're about to miss your bus and you have to start counting your coins. Like you don't have to do all of that. And also, if you take the wrong bus, you don't you can just go to the next bus without necessarily, because if you pay the wrong bus, they're not going to give you any refunds. There are no refunds. So yeah, I think getting a bus pass, a bus card is the best thing to do. It would really save you a lot of time, a lot of money. It would probably give you peace of mind to like just get that bus card, because I mean, imagine how many rides you go in a month, and in a month they're just paying 20 euros. It's pretty worth it, I think.
Thank you, Winnie. Yeah, I think I need to get that myself as well. I think I need to, because yeah, you're right. So now that we've done that, we're going to talk about finances. And the first question is, do you guys have any tips for students in regards to finances? Like, how can students save money in Cyprus? Habib, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, as someone who never used to save in first year, the thing that I did was I just started allocating budgets to different things that I would like to do every month. So I said, okay, every month 200 for food. No matter what happens, I don't go over this. 50 for fuel. Obviously, with that, it can change. And you just allocate however much you want to spend and give yourself a leeway of like 20 euros or 30 euros either way. And that way you'll even be able to save a lot of your monthly expenses as well. But just budgeting is my main tip.
Okay, budgeting. You guys heard it, budgeting. Any other person, Winnie, Abdul? Any tips on how you can save up as a student?
I think probably try avoiding eating out, because that can let your money run out very quick. If you can buy your food, buy it fresh and cook by yourself, and that really saved me a lot of money, and it really saved me a lot of money till today.
Right, I couldn't, yeah. Word. definitely. Stop, do not go on foodie, because the moment you get there, I think some of these restaurants, they do this thing that minimum spend of 10 euros, for you to get the delivery, before you know it, you're spending 10 euros there, 10 euros here. The money is piling up and your money is getting out of your account. So yeah, definitely I would agree to that one. Just make your food, set out time to make your food, and that way you're saving yourself a lot of money. And like Habiba said, budget as well. So next question is about banks in Cyprus. Are there any specific banks for students, or are there like any special sort of offers for students in terms of banking? Winnie, do you want to start off with that?
Special banks for students, I don't know about that, but I know that, some universities will probably have some kind of contract with the bank, for example. So maybe, like for example, my school, they did this thing with Bank of Cyprus, which is one of the popular banks here, where I guess you probably get discounts on some certain things. Like if you go to some certain places, maybe at the mall or something, you probably get like 10% off. So that's one thing that could happen. Another thing is, I remember, like summertime going to the water park. If you also Bank of Cyprus, because that's the bank I use. If you have a Bank of Cyprus card and you pay with your ATM card or something, then you probably would get like, really good percentage off. So yeah, that's just all I know about the bank thing.
Really, yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah, so that's it about the banks. So the next question is, let's go to Abdul for this one. How easy is it to settle in as a student, like on first arrival?
So I think it took maybe a bit of a while. It depends on the course that you're going into. So for my program, there was already sort of an event that was set up for sort of freshers week. So we got to meet people in the year above that have been here already. And the main thing that made it easier was maybe coming here with my brother and Habib, and also getting to meet so many different people from the different years that were very welcoming and were willing to show us around and take us to different places that they have found that were, really helpful. Like coffee shops to go to study, or just different things. Being able to find like a small community within the course that you're doing was really helpful.
Thank you. That makes sense. I think I would agree with that one as well. Just having that little thing, having a bit of knowing people even before arriving helped me a lot. Like just having them, and they're able to show me the way, and then joining a church as well helps me. Having a fellowship helped me to actually move my way and maneuver my way and actually settle in properly as well. I'd agree. Okay, so the next question, I'll pass it on to Habib. It's actually for you and Abdul, but I'll pass it on to Habib. So you guys said you studied in UK before coming here. So how would you compare the social scene in terms of UK in your previous university to here, Habib?
In the UK, there's the very famous like Freshers Week, where there's events running throughout the entire week. But when I came, I think our course, there were only 2 years above us. So we were quite small group, and it wasn't like a Freshers Week. It was like a Freshers Night or Freshers Evening type of thing. So that was like the first event that we actually I attended in terms of socializing. But other than that, there's different things you can do to socialize, but obviously not to the same extent as it was in the UK. I think there's one bowling alley in our small town, 2 theaters, whereas in the UK, there's 2 in every corner. There's a bowling alley in every corner as well. So there are things to do, but just in lesser quantity, in my opinion.
Right, since you actually sort of touched on things to do in terms of attractions and stuff, so what would you guys recommend? Because obviously you said that in the UK it's a lot of them, but here it's not as much. But what would you recommend to students coming as this is a must-go attraction for you to visit? Winnie?
Attractions. So I would say one really good attraction would be Cape Greco. So it's this place that's I think it's called Ayanapa or somewhere like that, or Proteus, around one of the really nice areas for beaches and all of that. So it's a really, really nice place to go, because it's kind of like you're at the end of the world, if you know what I'm talking about. Because Cyprus map, if you know the shape of the Cyprus map, it's kind of something like this, and it has a pointy tail. So that tip at the point You could actually stand there and just look at the ocean. It's really, really beautiful. It has a bunch of caves. I think definitely if you're like me, you like to take Instagram pictures, get those pictures, before you leave Cyprus. Go explore those caves, and yeah, just go there with your friends. It's a really nice place.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Winnie, for that. So the next question from online is, what is it like living as a person of color in Cyprus? Abdul, do you want to answer this?
Okay, so I think it's interesting because Cyprus is a very small place and they're sort of still like quite conservative. A lot of them are living in like small villages, or they haven't really explored other parts of the world. Sometimes you might hear some ignorant statements or some things that okay, this person might not mean harm, but it's just something that you wouldn't expect someone that's very well aware of, other cultures, other places to say that sort of thing. But it mostly just stops at that, like the ignorance. I've never really experienced anything past that that's been obvious, if that makes sense. I think in general, they're quite nice, receptive, and some of them are aware of some of the things that we do face, and they empathize with it, and they want to talk about it and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abdul, for sharing that. The next question we have from online is, would you guys know the rules regarding a foreign student register in a company in Cyprus? Abdul, do you want to answer that? It says, would you guys know the rules regarding a foreign student register in a company in Cyprus? Anybody know anything about that? So a student registering in a company in Cyprus?
No, never heard of that.
Right, so no one has any idea about that, but okay, we'll find a way to, whoever asks the question, we'll find a way to contact you and then possibly get you some information. And just the last question from there is, how do I begin looking for a new place of worship? How do I know it's right for me? Winnie, do you want to answer this for us?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question. How do I know the place is right for me? I think you can't necessarily know something unless you've been there. It's one thing to do your research, ask people and stuff like that. But if you've not been there for yourself, like for example, I could go to a church. I really, really love it. I'm growing spiritually. Everything's good. But then when you go there, it's probably not for you. So, my testimony might not be yours. So I would say just, explore. Obviously, it's a really tedious process going from church to church every Sunday. It's not like you can go one Sunday to different churches or anything like that. I hope you're not doing that. But yeah, so just, research about the churches. Still, yeah, like, hear from people, hear about the churches around. But also you need to be there for yourself to actually know what you're looking for.
Right. Thank you. Words of wisdom from the people. Thank you so much, guys, for actually doing this. Before we round up, I'm just going to pass it on. I'm going to call each and every one of you to just use one word to describe your time here in Cyprus. So starting with Winnie. One word, please.
One word? Not like
yes.
a sentence.
One word to describe your experience here in Cyprus.
Okay. My experience here, one word. Interesting.
Habib?
It's gonna be a cliche answer, but amazing.
Amazing. Okay. Abdul?
Enlightening.
Okay. You heard it from the speakers, guys. Interesting, amazing, enlightening. And thank you so much, guys, for actually taking time out and joining us and answering all of these questions. We hope that everyone who has logged in today is actually taking one or two things from this little discussion that we've had. If you have any further question, you can always just DM us on our Instagram or Facebook or at PENSA Cyprus, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions for you. Thank you so much, Winnie. Thank you so much, Habib. Thank you so much, Abdul, for joining us. And once again, we actually do apologize that the northern side that another student that we wanted to join could not join, a situation beyond our control, but we do apologize. And hopefully in the nearest future, we can actually do have them to come back and share their experiences with you as well. But yeah, once again, thank you so much to our lovely, lovely speakers. And thank you so much to all of our viewers again. So if you actually all just want to give a virtual round of applause to our speakers for tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you can give a round of applause to me as well, that'd be amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Like I said already, if you're looking for a fellowship in Cyprus, you're looking for more information, just follow us on @PENSA Cyprus on Instagram or on Facebook, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And you can always find out more about us on there as well. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you so much for everyone for watching this. Have a lovely night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.